So I think that the individual title on the men's race is going to be wide open. There's not going to be a heavy favorite. It's going to be really hard to predict. Let's get to the big one. Colin Solomon. Look, first of all, can we all say, Rojo, you're right. This nonsense that he wasn't going to run this year, that he might not be ready. Like, if he's not ready to run, he's the best high school recruit we've had in a long damn time. Like, if he's not ready to run high school NCAA cross country, then no freshman should be allowed to run. We should go back to like the 1960s when you're not allowed to run. So I think it was a smart play by the coach to take the pressure off. But he did run. He only finished his 60th. Now, you and I, John, before this race started, we got on the phone and everybody said, okay, I think it's important right now, before this gun does, what do we think is a good result? And you and I both thought of it independently, and we kind of had similar ideas. We basically came up with top 50. Because I'm thinking, if he's going to help them win the national title, he needs to be near All-American, as good as these teams are, right? Which is top 40. This
Right.
is his first race. Not everybody's there. You know, I was thinking, and you said something like top 50. I'd like to see him top 50. Top 75 is okay, is what you said. And he ends up right in between there at 60.
Yeah, 60th, it's fine. It doesn't really move the needle for me either way. If he was, if he was in the top 30, I would be like, all right, that's a pretty great run. He's going to be a big piece for him. If he's outside the top 75, I was like, that's a pretty rough debut. So finishing 60th kind of splits the difference. That's, yeah, like you said, it's fine. I think since he's a freshman, he's much more like, he has a wider range of outcomes at NCAAs than a veteran athlete. So if you said he improves to 25th by NCAAs, I wouldn't be shocked because he's a freshman. But if you say he's 200th, I wouldn't be shocked either. He's a 10K. It's a 10K race. He might be a miler. You made this comparison, Robert. It might be like what we saw from Cole Hocker, who was the 2018 Foot Locker champion, great cross country runner in high school, but he was only 69th in his true freshman year at NCAA cross. But then he turned out to be a fantastic miler.
Yeah, that's the way I view this. I mean, you can't read too much into it. It's his first race. I do think he's the way he ran that one indoor race last year when he won step 4 of the mile, never having run indoors, and he won the race. I'm like, this kid's not phased by the moment. He's very in control of himself. So I do expect him to move up according to NCAA. I don't expect him for the moment to be too much. Like, he's now used to being surrounded by people running in the 60s. Like, he's never done that his entire life. He's been in the front for the last couple of years. So I'll give him that credit. But I do think we learned, like, okay, this kid's a miler. Like, that's what he is. So it doesn't really even matter what the milers do. Like, yeah, I mean, Andrew Wheating was in the 80s or 70s in, say, cross country. You talked about Cole Hocker. But I think we found out he's not going to be like Grant Fisher, who was challenging for the win. He's not going to be like a Nico Young, challenging, top 20 as a freshman. I think that's not, I think he's more pure mile. He's more like a Centrowitz. He was never great at cross country.
Centro, well, hey, no. Centro was a pretty good cross country runner. He was like top 10 in NCAA cross.
Okay. But I think right now we're leaning towards more mile. I think if you really wanted to be cross country, probably can be. But, when I was scrolling through the results, I initially didn't see him and I thought he dropped out. But I was looking at some of these other milers. I mean, Sam Ellis, the former Princeton guy, he's now in Washington, 212th. The guy that won NCAAs, was that Wascom, John?
Yeah.
Leo Dasbach, another miler, 150th. Joe Wascom, 128th. So he's beating some, pretty damn good collegiate milers. Ed Trippas, former Princeton guy from Washington, 24:48. By the way, John, can I just, I always like to shit on the coaches that are younger than me. Your boy Andy Powell's team was, despite getting all these sub 4, you got Ed Trippas, who's an Olympian, way down there. My former Princeton boys did not do well today for Washington. They were 15th, just a push behind Miltonberg, who's also younger than me, and 14th. So there you go. Jerry Schumacher beats him. He's 12th. But yeah, I think it was. I'm glad that Solomon moves the needle for me. I'm glad to see him race. I think he will move up, but I'm not. I don't think he's going to be, like a Chris Derrick or a Grant Fisher as a freshman.
Okay, well, I think it's a little early to just proclaim his future after one collegiate race. If I had to guess, I would say yes, he's probably going to be more of a miler. I mean, Mike Smith said he's going to train him as more. He's going to be racing more 800s and 1500s, I think, as opposed to 5K, 10Ks when it comes to track season. But I'm not going to determine the guy's future based on one college race so far. But yeah, I think it might be trending that direction. All right. Anything else from this meet?